Alright, welcome to part 10. And next up, we have Humanoid Rapists from the Deep. And basically, this is the 1980s version of this movie. There was a version put out before this, and then there was another one released in 1990. But this is the one I kept hearing about, and this is the one that got mentioned in that book that I keep name checking, put out by Fangoria. Anyway, the tagline is, "They're not human, but they hunt human women, not for killing, but for mating." And that's pretty much the story. I just have to say, after watching this movie, it easily became one of my favorite horror films, period. For the type of movie it is, it delivers on everything you could want or expect from this type of movie. It's gory, it's really cheesy, unintentionally funny in parts. The makeup effects on the creatures themselves, at first they look really bad. They got the super elongated arms and it just looks really goofy. But then when you see the creatures up close, they look really detailed and grotesque, and they're actually really impressive looking, I thought. But overall, it's a very enjoyable movie, and like I said, it gives you everything you could expect from the type of movie that it is. And the ending was great, disturbing, and actually really funny and kind of unexpected at the same time. But this DVD is actually really hard to find. It's under the Roger Corman Classics label. But if you guys can find this, or if you run across this, don't hesitate to pick it up. Highly recommend this. And next up we have Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 3. And as you can see, it's got the R-rated and unrated versions. I just watched the unrated version, obviously. It's starring Viggo Mortensen and Ken Foray. And yeah, there's people on both sides of the fence as far as this movie's concerned. There's a lot that seem to like it and a lot that seem to dislike it for whatever reason. But I mean, I say if you're into the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, this should probably be in your collection. But that's just my opinion. Anyway, here's the disc itself and a little insert. And that's that. And next up we have Blue Sunshine. This is the Synapse release. It's basically about these people that are addicted to this drug that makes them lose their hair and go nuts and just start owning people. It's directed by Jeff Lieberman, who did Just Before Dawn and Squirm. Actually, I thought it was a very good, very trippy movie, very creepy too. That's the 2-disc version. The second disc is actually the soundtrack. That's that. And then the first disc is the movie itself. Another one that comes highly recommended, in my opinion. Next up, we have the 80s remake of The Blob. Everyone's aware of this. This is one of those 3 great 80s horror remakes, along with The Fly and The Thing. This is one of those great remakes. Highly recommended if you haven't seen this. A lot of good special effects, which to me is the main draw of this movie. And actually pretty ashamed to say I haven't seen the original. Although I did actually notice that Fry's Electronics had the original on Criterion DVD, which was actually, I thought was kind of strange. But I might actually pick that one up. I haven't seen the movie, like I said, but definitely check that out. Next up we have Savage Streets, which I actually learned that this particular DVD is going out of print recently. So I'm actually really glad I picked it up from Best Buy when I did. Starring Linda Blair, and basically these taglines basically sum up the movie. They raped her sister, killed her best friend, and now she must seek revenge. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Some amazing cover art, in my opinion, and starring a gorgeous Linda Blair, who grew up nice, I must say. There's the actual DVD itself, or the DVD case itself, excuse me. A nice little insert of the theatrical poster. It's pretty fucking cool. Disc 1 and Disc 2. Some of the best cover art I've actually seen on a DVD. But yeah, if you guys actually get lucky enough to stumble upon a copy of this, definitely don't hesitate to pick it up. It's a nice little rape revenge film. Next up we have My Bloody Valentine. Everybody and their grandma showing this in their updates. I won't go into too much detail. Obviously this is the uncut version with the uncut footage noticeably put in there. One of the best slashers I've seen ever, period. So this is highly recommended for people that aren't aware of what this is. Definitely check it out. And then next up we have Bloodsucking Pharaohs in Pittsburgh. It's a horror comedy, kind of a spoof on like cop detective films, and mixed in with like slasher, low budget slasher films. It's actually pretty gory, very funny in parts. Tom Savini did the special effects for this. It actually has quite a few special features on it. Unfortunately it's full screen, but I mean I can live with that. But yeah, definitely check it out. Weird storyline, I can't really describe it. It's been a minute since I've seen it, so but I mean if you could find this for cheap, I picked it up for less than $10 actually, so I mean if you're into horror comedies, definitely pick this up as well. Next up is an exploitation film that most people know about, at least here on YouTube that I've seen. Class of 1984. It's about this music teacher that takes over a class in this rundown high school. It's ran by this group of kids, basically a gang that do whatever the fuck they want. But basically they get one of their little antics goes a little bit too far, or some of their antics goes a little bit too far, and it involves the music teacher's significant other. So needless to say, he takes matters into his own hands because the cops and everyone else won't really do anything to stop him. So, and this is starring a young Michael J. Fox, and Roddy McDowell's in this as well. And this is actually the cover artwork without the slipcase. Pretty cool disc artwork. That's that little insert. Mad Puppet Death actually showed a steelbook of this movie that she had, which was pretty cool. So if you want to check that out, check her channel out and seek out that video. I'm not sure which video it is, but she showed it. It looked pretty impressive. I think it was from a different region too. But anyway, next up is Eden Lake. And this is one of the 3 best recently made horror films that I've seen. When I say recently made, I mean like in the past few years or whatever. Eden Lake. It's another one of them crazy kid movies where little kids need their ass kicked when they're not little kids, they're like teenagers. But they're basically terrorizing this couple that are on vacation. And I'll probably just leave it at that as far as the description is concerned, because there's a lot that goes on in this movie. It's really disturbing. There's a lot of violent scenes in this that are pretty fucking brutal, honestly. And the ending is definitely a shocker. I'll leave it at that. Definitely highly recommended. And I believe Doug Lander actually did a review on this film, so check that out. I believe it was him. But anyway, and next up we have Penn, starring Terry O'Quinn. also known as Mr. John Locke. um, it's basically about this doctor that actually uses a dummy named Penn to teach his kids about like anatomy and shit, but he dies, and basically his son continues his relationship with Penn, and that's pretty much where the movie starts getting really weird. But definitely check this out if you're into, like, I guess psychotic sociopath type films, I guess. But yeah, not the easiest movie to find either. But I believe this is like a Canadian DVD as well. So, but anyway, I'm gonna have to end it there. So I'll catch you guys on the next part. Peace.